So in a lot of your recent articles, you talk about the food movement. And I wonder if you could just define what you mean by the food movement.
Well, it's hard to do because it's undefined as a movement. But I feel that there is now a social movement, and one of the most interesting social movements in the country, that's very inchoate and has a lot of conflicting tendencies within it, but that recognizes that the way we're feeding ourselves is highly destructive of the natural world, of ourselves, of the land, of the atmosphere too, and that it is, literally unsustainable. We hear this word a lot. It's been cheapened, it's been co-opted, but it means that it can't go on indefinitely without a serious crisis or breakdown, because the system is destroying conditions upon which it depends, or there are contradictions in it. And we are there with food. I mean, food is a serious environmental, ethical, and health issue right now. And so the movement are all the different groups and factions interested in pushing the food system in a new direction. And there have to be about a dozen different elements. I mean, there are people, there's the organic farming movement, that's part of it. But then there's the biodynamic farming movement, that's part of it. There is the animal rights movement, animal welfare movement. There is the hunger movement to make sure that everybody has enough access to good food. There is that a cricket? See, reconnecting with the natural world can happen even at the Hilton Hotel.
That's right.
There is, what else? I mean, there's so many different elements to it. There are people interested in labeling and transparency in foods, people interested in fighting genetically modified food. So not everybody's on the same page. And in fact, there's some very interesting conflicts. The hunger lobby, as it's called, the people really interested in helping the poor eat, are sometimes at war with the public health aspect of the movement, which, say, wants to cut soda out of food stamps, because soda is, we're learning from the science, is toxic, essentially.
It's maybe not a food.
Yeah, and exactly, and we shouldn't dignify it with that beautiful word. And but they argue that, well, that's very paternalistic of you to say that the poor shouldn't be able to enjoy soda like everybody else. And then the other people argue, and I'm the other people on this, I think, well, okay, they can buy soda, but should our tax dollars be supporting food that is leading to public health problems that our tax dollars also have to pay for, dealing? And the other argument would be you're not allowed to use your food stamps for candy or alcohol. And red wine arguably has more nutritional value than soda. It has antioxidants and a couple, little goodies like that. So that's one tension. And then there's a tension also between animal rights movement, I think, and sustainable agriculture. A large, not all of it, but important elements of it believe that to have a truly sustainable agriculture, you need animals on farms as well as plants. And you're not going to keep those animals there as pets. If you're going to have animals in agriculture, they're going to get eaten. So that's another tension. They're all very productive tensions, and there's enough areas of agreement that I think the movement can go forward. It's a fairly young movement. It doesn't yet have its advocates in Congress the way, say, the environmental movement does, but it will. It will soon. I mean, it's growing very quickly. And this issue and this movement, there is a generation coming up now of college students, people in their 20s. This is their issue. This is their generational issue, because it connects so many dots. It's, if you're going to deal with climate change, you're going to have to deal with the food system, because it's somewhere between 20 and 30% of greenhouse gases are produced by the food system. If you want to deal with the obesity crisis and the crisis of, what we call the healthcare crisis, which is really a crisis of chronic diseases linked to diet, you're going to have to deal with the food system. If you want to deal with energy use, and reducing our fossil fuel use, you're going to have to deal with the food system, because it uses 20% of the fossil fuel. So you can't, it's the issue that joins together the other issues, and is a very powerful place to attack those issues, I think, because it's much more, it's very intimate to people, what happens on their plate. I mean, it's an easy story to tell. I mean, you can connect people to those issues through talking about food and telling those stories. We all like stories about food. And I think you can get there more easily than telling stories about light bulbs or, other things in our everyday lives, which I don't think I could write a good piece about light bulbs.
Oh, you probably could.